Hi folks, my name is Anton from the AI product team, and I'm going to talk to you today about AI Fabric. In this session, we hope that you're able to take away an understanding for the types of customers who would be good candidates for AI Fabric, understand and be able to explain the value AI Fabric brings to customers, understand how AI Fabric fits in relation to offerings from our competitors and from the broader automation, AI, and RPA markets, and know where to find additional resources so that you can educate yourself further on AI Fabric. RPA on its own has vast potential because it enables you to collect data from really any disparate source and to process that data. But it can only really automate and process data in relation to simple tasks that have low variability. And AI in and of itself is incredibly powerful because it enables you to find patterns and insights and to use those patterns and insights to make complex decisions. But it needs data to be processed from these disparate sources. So whenever you bring these two technologies together, the combined potential is almost limitless. And so whenever you think about our robots being able to tackle cognitive tasks and to be able to continuously learn and improve and gain new skills, that is really what the combination of these technologies enables. So how do you think about the complex decisions and steps in an automation that you can use AI for? And we've tried to give these three categories with which to think about good candidates for the use of AI within your automation. First of all, if the task in the automation has uncertainty, for instance, if I can't with 100% certainty say that with this input I will get this output, such as when you're assessing whether someone will default on their loan or not. Second of all, if you have high variability, so even if with this input data I am able to map a predefined output, there is so much variability that it's very difficult for me to actually codify that, such as translating one language to another. And finally, if the input data is unstructured in nature, it's almost impossible to be able to build rules to work with that data. So whenever you have information in the form of articles, documents, images, or emails, extracting information or insights from that data is the other way in which you can use AI. What do we mean by AI skills and what is an AI skill? So an AI skill is essentially just a deployed machine learning model. Whenever you upload your model or use one of our out-of-the-box models and deploy that, and that can then be used by a robot to automate a complex task and continuously improve over time, that is how we define an AI skill. How does AI Fabric work? Well, first of all, a user chooses their model, either one that they upload themselves or one of our many out-of-the-box models that are available in AI Fabric, and they deploy the model, making it available for an RPA developer to drag and drop it into their workflow. Whenever that workflow is being executed by robots, then the AI model will make the complex decision so that the robot can learn new skills and automate more complex things. Whenever the model can't make a prediction with a high degree of certainty, that can then be funneled to a human via human in the loop, and the human can correct the decision from the robot, and then that correction can be used to train the machine learning model and improve it So we get this virtuous circle of continuous improvement and making smarter decisions over time. The previous workarounds for applying AI to RPA involved countless hours of custom development and integration between machine learning models that sit on some other platform and RPA applications. But with AI Fabric, the challenges of deployment, consumption, management, and improvement of the machine learning models is all handled in the context of our wider platform. How do I deploy my machine learning model? We provide an easy to use interface that allows data scientists to easily upload their own machine learning models, or for RPA developers or data scientists to use our array of out-of-the-box models and then deploy them as AI skills so they can spend less time on DevOps and engineering and more time on solving real business problems. We don't limit our customers in terms of model choice. The open platform, as I mentioned, provides out-of-the-box models and supports models built by you and our UiPath partners. Next, how do I consume the machine learning model, and how difficult is it to use this in my workflows? Once the model is deployed, it becomes an AI skill that can be drag and dropped into an RPA workflow and used by robots within an automation. And what previously took hours to do to hook up AI and RPA now takes a couple of minutes. Data science teams create machine learning models, and RPA teams use those models in RPA workflow. To enable seamless collaboration, AI Fabric provides end-to-end visibility across your teams on how your model is being used, and can provide a full audit trail of your model and the data that has been used to train it, so that if the machine learning model makes a prediction, that prediction can then be evaluated at some later point to understand why that prediction was made. Also, our platform helps you monitor and manage your models so that executives can now prove out the return on investment and make sure that regulatory requirements are satisfied. Perhaps the most important feature of AI Fabric is the ability to constantly improve the machine learning model. And the way we do that is by allowing humans, subject matter experts, to validate the predictions that the machine learning model makes. And based on those validations, the model can be retrained and continuously improved to make sure that it's both improving and also staying up to date as real world data changes. Within the broader framework of the UiPath RPA platform, AI Fabric sits in the managed stage. And AI Fabric augments the capabilities within our platform, but the other pieces of the platform also augment AI Fabric and bring so much more value than any standalone AI platform could. So with the discover phase, we're able to find the highest ROI AI opportunities using task mining and process mining, and we're able to track those AI opportunities in AI Hub, and then in the build stage, we're able to integrate AI using Studio and deliver it directly to business applications. You're able to manage your AI models along with the other components within your automation. In the engage stage, we're able to ensure your models are continuously improving by enabling subject matter experts to validate the prediction the AI makes. And finally, you can measure the performance and ROI of your AI alongside the rest of your automation components and insights. So from a competitive standpoint, none of our competitors have something like AI Fabric today. Not to say that they won't in the future, but as of today, there's no similar technology. The closest there is what WorkFusion has, although it's somewhat different in that they have pre-built models for particular use cases that customers can train on their own data. Um, they don't have the ability to allow you to upload your own models and train your own models. They don't have the concept of giving you access to a partner ecosystem, to an ecosystem of machine learning models. And they don't allow development of machine learning on the platform. And although we don't have that today either, that's part of our Q1, Q2 roadmap for AI Fabric. Automation Anywhere have obviously IQBot. From what we understand, IQBot is fairly rudimentary. It allows you to take a small corpus of documents, do some form of training, although it's unclear whether it's actually machine learning, and that will then allow you to create a taxonomy for a particular document that it can then use to extract information from that document. So I think the best way to think about AI Fabric in the context of a competitive landscape across RPA companies is that there is really no competitive solution to it out there today. Finally, I just want to touch on a few use cases from real customers in our preview. So Heritage Bank, they're Australia's largest customer-owned bank. They have 80 processes automated today. And what they were, the problem that they wanted to tackle was around living expense assessment. So they had loads and loads of data that they used to try to categorize living expenses, and they had to use very basic heuristics to assess what expenses went into each bucket. And the approach they were taking just wasn't very effective because nearly half of all of the things that they categorized just went into a generic other bucket. So along with us, they built a machine learning model that was able to categorize all of these expenses to a much higher degree. Over 80% of the expenses are now accurately categorized, and that will grow and increase over time as the model's improved upon. Customer churn is another great use case for AI Fabric, and many companies in many different industries face this problem of understanding when one of their customers has a high likelihood of churning, and there are teams that spend a lot of time trying to manually identify which customers may churn. And whenever they do this, there's obviously a high degree of inaccuracy. And it's really, really difficult to be proactive and to prevent your customers from churning. And in some cases, there's a need to spend extra money to retain or acquire new customers or customers that have previously churned. So with AI Fabric, what you could do is use RPA to extract customer information from a CRM, create a model and send the customer information to that model to predict the likelihood of a customer churning, update all of that information within your CRM system, and then email the customer churn data to an employee, and potentially even directly contact the customer to provide them with a special offer or something that will avoid them churning or lowering the likelihood of them churning. AI Fabric Cloud was first released in January of this year as part of the UiPath Cloud Platform limited availability, and it gives you the ability to upload and deploy your machine learning models within the Orchestrator UI and then drag and drop them directly into your RPA workflow. And it also has a couple of out-of-the-box models available. But the bigger release for AI Fabric Cloud will be coming in Q2, and that will have a separate web UI outside of Orchestrator and will give more advanced functionality such as the ability to continuously train and improve the models and manage your data sets, as well as having a much larger library of out-of-the-box models available. And finally, AI Fabric on-prem will be released first as part of 20.4 as for single node deployments for our document understanding models. And then following that, we will have the version of AI Fabric on-prem that's multi-node that can scale out using Kubernetes and will give you all of the functionality you get with the cloud version of AI Fabric. And it's important to note that the on-prem version of AI Fabric will require customers have Orchestrator 20.4. When we think about AI Fabric in the context of our customer value drivers, we can think about accelerating operational efficiency as the potential of RPA being vast, but when paired with AI is almost limited. And companies can save time and costs by automating more complex and cognitive processes and spend time and costs on operational activities, and spend less time and costs on operational activities. We can improve the customer experience by accelerating the speed of response thanks to AI enhanced automations, so that you don't need to wait for a human customer service representative to answer your query, for instance. We can mitigate risks because your automations are more stable because as the models continuously evolve and improve. So by constantly training and improving your models, it ensures they get better over time. We also give you the ability to entirely audit, to give you an entire audit trail of why your model made a certain prediction by seeing what data it was trained on and what base algorithm was used to train it and what the input data was for a prediction. And finally, we improve the employee experience by increasing the potential of your automation significantly and letting your own employees focus on higher value tasks that not even AI is able to automate. Thanks for your time. If you have any specific questions or you have customer engagements where you would like support, please feel free to reach out to me or any member of the AI product team directly, and we can help.